Before we get started on today's movie review, I do have a little announcement to make, and that is going forward when I receive screeners like this one, where it is maybe say from Gravitas Venture or it is a lower budget based movie, I'm going to be approaching these reviews slightly differently because I've started to really want to examine these movies a little bit differently than normal. Because for example, this movie that I'm going to be talking about, Harmony, was made on like a very micro budget, which means sometimes it's less than say $5,000. Say compared to a movie that I've seen recently that's been at the cinema that's like 18 million as a budget. So I think it's very important for me sometimes to really evaluate how I've been examining these movies and how I talk about them. So without further ado, I hope that you're going to be welcome to this change, and I would love to hear any feedback in the comment section down below. But without further ado, let's get to it, to my review of Harmony. Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in to this movie review. Whether you're brand new, all I ask is to press the red subscribe button so I can see you again on a future video, and it helps support me and the channel, and I also would appreciate it also if you do. But today's video is a big thank you firstly to the awesome folks over at Gravitas Ventures for giving me an early screener to a movie that is going to be releasing on June 24th on video on demand, and that movie is called Harmony. Now, the director behind this is very interesting because it's a gentleman called Zack, who, when I read up a little bit behind the scenes of this, I found it really cool because Zack has been working on this idea for around 10 years. But in the last 5 years, more specifically, he has tried to do like a fundraiser to get this off the ground. He's also a founder of a production company called Hand Me Down Films LLC, who do help produce this movie, which is really cool. And this also does have a short movie. This was kind of like a 6-minute short movie that I watched just earlier before actually watching this movie. And I really think that it's interesting that Zack is making this movie, and I think it's his first ever movie feature besides a TV movie that he's worked on in the past, because besides that, the other kind of works he has accomplished before is music video production. He's also done like directing, of course, and he's done some other venture projects, and he's been like a VFX artist also. So he definitely has an interesting story and history behind him getting to this point. And it's awesome that Gravitas Ventures is once again supporting a lower budget movie, which they do a lot of the times, and I think that is just a fantastic avenue and outlet for a lot of filmmakers to be able to achieve. So with Harmony, I will say that the plot for me was spoiled on the synopsis that I was actually sent. So for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to be ruining the plot for you in terms of the twist, but what I will tell you in terms of the plot is it's based on a character called SOPHIA Gonzalez, who is played by Marili Mejias, if I've got that correct. And SOPHIA Gonzalez is a wounded soldier. During battle, when she's wounded, she's taken to this medical facility for recovery, but while she's there, she also realizes that there's other soldiers there who are also for the same purpose, for recovery. But this medical facility isn't what it seems, so Sophia sets out on a quest to really find the true purpose of Harmony. There's certainly movies that may follow in a similar vein. I like that this one firstly is only 70 minutes long. I didn't feel like the runtime or the pace or anything kind of faltered or it overstayed its welcome, so I've got to praise that for sure. And there's certainly a lot going on in this runtime, whether it is a little bit of the slower pace to get more explanation, or whether it is like an action flashback scene that we get, because this story is kind of told with Sophia, of course, in the medical facility, but at the same time we're also getting flashbacks of how she's kind of gotten there and a little bit about her past also. So it's kind of interpreted in a different way, but I can kind of really respect that because they've also got a bit of the cinematography by Scott Jesk, if I've got that right. It's kind of filtered with blue and red. Now, a lot of people could say that's kind of like the Matrix. Now, I've never seen it, but I do know, of course, the famous blue or red pill. So I could definitely tell with kind of like the colours. I guess it kind of got like a little bit inspiration from that, but it wasn't necessarily a bad thing because it kind of separates the two different timelines that we are venturing in with Harmony. And I like that kind of separation by the two different colours, because sometimes you might get like, say, a black and white and then it's just in colour, kind of like the modern day, or you might get like a tinted lens of just like maybe like a little bit grainy or blurry to separate the actual real timeline to like the past. But I like that they went kind of like the blue and red. I thought that was a little bit different, and I really liked that that was followed on throughout the duration of the movie, and it kind of provides like a different take to how they're going to be telling the story and how they're unraveling this story when it plays out through the 70 minutes. We've also got some supporting cast in here of Mark Frazier, who plays Eric, Jessica Inze, who plays Ranson, Pry'ce Jaymes, who plays Charles, Elliot Bales as Klein, and Alexander Weir as Callahan. The lead performance by Marili Mejias as SOPHIA Gonzalez was a great job. She really delivered this performance, and you bought into her character firstly as a wounded soldier. She felt like she could really hold her own, and kind of like a strong character, a little bit like Ripley from Aliens. That's the kind of vibe I got from her. She really had this presence on the screen, and you really bought into her character and how she was feeling and the mixed emotions that she feels throughout this movie. You felt that along with her. The supporting cast are fine. The acting roles, they do a fine job. I can't say that there was any big standouts apart from our main character, but the supporting cast were fine. I like that. The music, and I tried to look this up on IMDb, but there was nowhere to be found in there. But whoever conducted the musical score for this movie did a terrific job, because I felt with this music that was subtly in the background or kind of at the forefront of these action sequences that we get, the music helped to add this tension to that moment that we were seeing. And the music also helped to really create this kind of eerie, creepy atmosphere in this medical facility, and kind of give you a vibe at sometimes that something wasn't quite right. But it's set in this kind of like near futuristic world, and I'd say like the downfall of this movie is that futuristic world, because with that kind of micro budget that they had, you don't really feel a lot of the times like this is set in the future. By all means, you know, you've got this medical facility, which is great, and you can feel that it's in some sort of medical facility, so I will give them props for the location. The futuristic element though isn't so much here with the movie, which is a little bit of a shame. And besides the futuristic setting being a little bit of the downfall of this movie, the only other little bit of downfall I would say is that budget. And I think because of the budget and because of maybe the VFX that they weren't able to create, or like CG for example, sometimes I feel like the story got lost a little bit of the time in maybe the message it was trying to deliver, or the overall message it was trying to get at the forefront, at the helm of this movie. I didn't 100% connect with that, but that could just be me. Maybe if you've seen it yourself, you might feel a little bit differently. But would I recommend checking out Harmony? Well, I do know that it has been having a successful pre-order run that Zack has been revealing on the website itself. And I would say again, you know, for a 70-minute film, I didn't find myself bored by this. I found that it had some really intriguing elements to it, and I would have liked to have seen how they would have been executed on a bigger budget. As it is, if you're a fan and you kind of seek out indie horror / sci-fi movies, then maybe this one is definitely worth checking out for you. However, with the negatives that I did mention, if that kind of sounds as if that might deter you from watching this movie, then it would be a little bit of a shame, but I completely understand why you may not check this out. So if you've enjoyed this review, please give it a big thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. And if you've liked the way that I've presented this review in a different sort of style than I do my normal reviews, I would love to hear any feedback in the comment section below. But until the next time that I see you, I'll be seeing you later.